At first glance, Vox is an extraordinarily successful media organization. On YouTube alone, they have 11 million subscribers and over 3 billion views. And in the last 30 days itself, they've gained over 20 million views and over 100,000 subscribers. Given the high-quality journalism and the documentaries that come out of Vox, it's not surprising that they're so successful. But what may be surprising is that there is a large community that can't stand Vox. They believe that Vox skews perspectives and that much of their content centers around garnering attention as opposed to truly informing. It's not just some viewers that are put off by their content either. Many journalists are as well. Just one Google search will bring up dozens of opinion pieces trashing on Vox. But much of this you can just write off as natural criticism. Whenever an organization gets relatively large, it's gonna attract detractors regardless of what they do. But something that you can't write off as simply is the exodus at Vox. Johnny Harris is likely the most notable example, but he's by no means the only one. Another Vox journalist turned YouTuber is Cleo Abram. And it's not just journalists who are leaving Vox either. This exodus actually goes all the way to the top. In just the last few years, 2 out of the 3 Vox founders left the company. And it's not like these guys completely quit journalism or the media industry altogether. They just quit Vox. Matthew Yglesias, for example, left so that he could become a writer at a paid newsletter called Substack. Similarly, Ezra Klein left Vox to become a notable journalist at the New York Times. Yet another executive who ditched Vox is Lauren Williams. While she wasn't a co-founder, she did serve as editor-in-chief and senior vice president. To make things worse, all 3 of these departures happened in the same month, November of 2020. There's also a good chance that Vox is dealing with some financial challenges throughout this recession, given that they laid off 39 people last year. So, what happened to Vox? Taking a look back, Ezra Klein wasn't always looking to ditch Vox. In fact, not too long ago, he was looking to ditch the Washington Post. Ezra was the head of a public policy blog where he regularly analyzed and discussed upcoming legislation and the political landscape. While this was a pretty safe position to be in, Ezra felt the need to address a shortfall within the market. He felt that the traditional media outlets weren't providing in-depth explanatory journalism. His first instinct was to pitch the idea to upper management. But after they rejected his idea, it didn't take him long to leave, and he took several Washington Post employees with them, including one of Vox's other co-founders, Melissa Bell. Together, they hired a team of 20 people, each of whom were an expert in a given topic area. And shortly after, they launched Vox on April 6, 2014, with the goal of making the news exciting again. Their initial content focused on explaining various facets of the Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare. They also spent time exploring economic issues like the massive public debt. These articles and videos performed quite well, especially for a brand new media organization. But it would take Vox a few months to really trigger the YouTube algorithm, which brings us to their first viral hit, 3 Big Reasons War is Going Away. They followed this up with yet another viral hit just a few weeks later titled, Weed is not more dangerous than alcohol. Pretty quickly, Vox started to build a name for themselves as the edgy media outlet that wasn't afraid to make their positions clear. I mean, they were literally claiming that the US debt wasn't a big deal and that weed should not be ostracized. They even had videos comparing Bitcoin to the internet and debunking Shark Week. While many of these were great one-off videos, Vox was yet to find a core series that people would tune in for. But this would change on July 23, 2014, when Vox posted a video called What Made North Korea So Bizarre? Vice had already popularized the elusive nature of North Korea across YouTube. So when Vox posted a video about North Korea, it instantly went viral. And since then, North Korea-based content has become a staple on the channel, garnering tens of millions of views. It looks like this is one of the things that Johnny Harris took with him from Vox, as he has his own multi-million view North Korea video. Speaking of Johnny Harris, he was an early employee at Vox, having joined in 2014 as a senior video producer. Aside from producing videos about North Korea, Johnny worked on producing map-based videos. Eventually, Johnny would merge the elusive aspect of North Korea with the geographical aspect of maps. And the combination of these two sides would lead to the creation of one of Vox's most popular docuseries of all time, Borders, which brings us into the glory days of Vox. In the late 2010s, Vox was killing it. If you go to their channel and sort by most popular, you'll see that virtually all of their most popular videos were posted during this time period. Not only did they have deep, thought-provoking content about various hot topics, but they delivered said content in an exceptional way. This is something that hasn't changed at Vox to this day. The quality of their animations, infographics, and editing is top-notch for YouTube, and honestly, it's better than even most traditional media outlets. You could say that Vox had achieved their goal of making informative videos not just watchable or informative, but full-on entertaining. With every video, there was a beginning, middle, and end, with main characters, failures, and successes. Each video was a story, a journey through a specific topic or historical event. Something that made Vox even more popular was the downfall of cable TV. More and more people were switching completely to streaming platforms like Netflix and Hulu. But while these platforms had super exciting shows and long-form documentaries, something that they lacked was news-based content. And all of this combined led to the extraordinary rise of what we all know as Vox today. But wait a minute, where's the bad stuff? If Vox was producing such great content, why do a large portion of viewers and journalists hate Vox? And why are leading hosts and even founders leaving the company? Well, the answer is that, like Vox, I've only been telling one side of the story. Throughout this entire journey, Vox had another side that was not nearly as respected. And I think the best way to explain this other side is as the BuzzFeed side. If you're not familiar with BuzzFeed, they're another popular media company that gained much of their fame during the same time period as Vox. Instead of focusing on news-based content though, BuzzFeed focused on entertainment and experiences, and they were infamous for their clickbait BS articles. Here's a few just to give you an idea. I cannot believe the haircut Grimes just gave her and Elon Musk's baby. 10 signs that your cat is a wizard. Which ousted Arab Spring ruler are you? Given that Vox was in a much more serious informative niche, you would think that they would be above such articles. But they weren't. Who is Solange, and why is she attacking Jay-Z? Jay-Z called lacrosse soft. The research literature disagrees. The time when hip-hop's top drag queen met RuPaul. In many of these cases, the writers knew that the articles were ridiculous. But they posted them anyway because they also knew that they could leverage these celebrities and their drama. While these articles may have gotten clicks, they took away from Vox's credibility as the informative and reputable digital media organization. In the grand scheme of things though, this was by far their smallest offense. The real critique of Vox is that they tell one-sided stories. I didn't want to make this video political, but that's impossible to achieve when Vox themselves is so political. Basically, every video they post has an underlying liberal agenda, and this dates back to their very first videos. How Obamacare will change health insurance forever. Competent women are getting bypassed by overconfident men. Weed is not more dangerous than alcohol. I'm not suggesting that any of these stances are right or wrong, but simply that they only cover one side of the story. This doesn't just stop at the headlines or thumbnails either. Basically, every word and every sentence in the video is carefully concocted to make you think a certain way, when in reality, real journalism should focus on providing an objective view of all perspectives. I mean, this is one of the biggest problems with traditional media as well. You've got your liberal outlets like CNN, the New York Times, and NBC, and you've got your conservative outlets like Fox, the New York Post, and Newsmax. Given that one of Vox's goals was to make up for the shortfalls of legacy media, you would think that they would have spent a lot of effort in gathering and conveying diverse viewpoints. But instead, it seems like Vox has simply become a traditional media outlet that's good at social media and the internet. But despite the new medium, Vox has all of the same issues as traditional media. And it's not just liberal viewpoints that they support either. They even go as far as defending people from the left. One of the best examples of this is with a journalist named Sarah Jeong. In 2019, Sarah made the following remarks on Twitter. "Oh man, It's kind of sick how much joy I get out of being cruel to old white men. White people marking up the internet with their opinions like dogs pissing on fire hydrants, and hashtag cancel white people. Vox published not one, but 3 separate articles defending Sarah. They even went as far as categorizing Sarah's comments as the expressive way anti-racists and minorities talk about white people, and they categorized the arguments from the other side as a major bullying tactic of the alt-right. I don't think anything else needs to be said about this situation. Over the years, these types of situations have simply increased in popularity, leading to much of the distaste surrounding Vox. It's incredibly ironic that Vox is Latin for voice, yet they're actively involved in the censorship and deplatforming of people and groups they dislike. If I see there's a source, then I always backcheck the information, not a source that I'd like to link to other people as being reliable. Not to say everything is wrong, just more likely to be twisted in some way. Their gimmick is claiming to be objective explainers of the news, but in fact, they give it a strong leftward spin. And this seems to be the primary issue with Vox. In the end, Vox started off as an ambitious startup that was looking to achieve something that traditional media couldn't. This meant conveying seemingly boring topics in a fun and intuitive manner while maintaining objectivity and clarity. But instead, it seems that Vox has fallen into the same trap as traditional media. They ended up choosing one side and going deeper and deeper. At this point, they're so far to one side that they believe that centrism is actually the media's biggest bias. And I think this one Reddit comment described the situation the best. It's pseudo-news. Yes, it conveys facts and explains current events, but it does so with bias, and they often cherry-pick evidence. Good entertainment, but not something you should watch if you're genuinely trying to inform yourself on a topic. And that's what happened to Vox. I do gotta say though, despite their shortfalls, their production quality is still insane, so respect there. Anyway, are you guys fans of Vox? Comment that down below. Also, drop a like if you would like to see a truly objective news organization. And of course, consider checking out our Discord community to suggest future video ideas, and consider subscribing to see more questions logically answered. But until then, I'm Hari, and I'll see you guys on the next one.